Coffee Break with your host, Sola and Nasifa. Today is Monday, May 18th, 2009. And here in the Emerald Isle, as time passed, instead of greener grass on the other side, we see blue grass, which is far less prettier and has very little class.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Break. But alas, only Nasifa and I have what it takes to turn our low-class blue grass to first class.
Absolutely. And talking about class, has it not grown quite apparent, well, to me anyway, that there's a great need for a functional driving class to you, Sola?
Why you say that, Nasifa?
That's because I am now convinced that there is a large population in Montserrat that actually purchase their licenses. There is no way that these people could have passed the driving portion of their driver's test. No way.
I know that's right. They also need to add a vision test as one of the requirements you need to pass before, getting a license.
I know. I have had it up to my hair follicles with the majority of Montserrat's licensed population driving in the middle of the road.
With them bright light and huge gas guzzlers.
I'm trying to tell you, you couldn't tell how awful drivers are in Montserrat by watching our pedestrians. That's for sure.
I hear you, girl. Our pedestrians sure do behave as if it is scientifically impossible for them to be struck by a moving vehicle.
Perhaps they need to start a pedestrian class.
While we're on the subject of class, did you know that Montserrat Community College students actually have to wear a uniform?
A uniform? Isn't that like over and done with when you graduate from high school?
Apparently. But not here in Montserrat. In fact, not only do the community college students have to wear a uniform, but also they have to wear stripes on their sleeves. Signify how much years they've been attending the college.
So what happens if I am a dumb student and run out of sleeve space? I will have to be expelled then for failing to wear their uniform properly?
Probably. This is Montserrat,
I know that's right. Knowing them. They would probably prohibit me from making my sleeves any longer just so they can't get rid of me.
Talking about prohibited.
What?
You hear the current grumbling in Montserrat about jobs?
That's what you call it? Grumbling? Shoot, I find it's more like rumbling.
In either case, listening on a conversation, as I often do, I have heard two people discussing what appeared to be a blatant discrimination in Montserrat right now.
Oh? What blatant discrimination you talking about? What are we talking about?
Well, they wanted to know why some people in Montserrat who have a job and get charged in high court, go back to work, while the other individual who didn't get charged have to find work somewhere else.
Well, honey, maybe because the community seems to be growing immune to all levels of violations like child abuse and violence and whatever else you want to see.
Or maybe it's just corruption and money that rules. Just a thought. Don't shoot the messenger.
Please, don't shoot the messenger. And while we're on the subject of discrimination, have you heard about the film to be produced by a white guy in Montserrat?
A film? White guy? In Montserrat?
As I hear it, some white guy got a whole load of money to come to Montserrat to film a series of programs.
Why? Is this a bad thing?
Well, from what I heard, some residents are complaining about white people coming to Montserrat and possessing the majority of the contract and miscellaneous jobs like information gathering, etc. These are being only offered to the little small white population of residents on island.
Okay, I get you with the overdose of white people in this film series, but at least it's a film about Montserrat, right?
Yeah, a film about Montserrat based on the white man's perspective, which is actually the equivalent of, let's say, 0.001 to a 1500% ratio as far as perspectives are concerned.
Now what I want to know is why are these filmmakers making movies or films about Montserrat and insisting on evading and avoiding as much as possible Montserratian locals of a dark skin tone during their information gathering stage?
Can you imagine what type of movie impression will be given by these kinds of films? Just think about it. If they're not careful, tourists will show up here in Montserrat and be surprised by the number of black people surrounding them and get freaked out and run back to the airplane.
They'll probably get the impression that black people are like roaches. When you see one, bet your last dollar there's at least 1,000 within shouting distance.
I guess the film will instruct them to pack the Orcan man or Canarade, whichever they prefer.
Still on discrimination. Have you heard about the black on black discrimination going on in Montserrat?
Besides the black on black discrimination we talk about every week?
Well, actually, yes.
Oh?
There are some Montserratians who are rather insulted by what they describe as an outright insult to their intelligence.
Oh, excuse me. Is that right? I wonder what was the outright insult?
Well, a particular organization publicly announced that they wanted a Montserratian for a certain vacancy.
Okay, and what's so offensive about that?
However, although Montserratians applied, guess what?
What, a foreigner get a job?
Exactly. Some people are saying it is no surprise. What do you expect to happen when you allow foreigners to do the hiring?
Listen, at the rate things are happening right now, Montserratians will soon have to start going to police for time to live in their own country. You hear what I'm telling you?
As one person said, it almost seems like we have a group of wealthy folks who are determined to create a poverty-stricken workforce that is held captive in Montserrat because they remain too poor to relocate.
I hear you. Well, if this is the case, I hope that this small group of well-to-dos realize the possible consequences of starving the masses.
Knowing them, they didn't think that this would be any consequence. That's why it seems to continue without any obstructions.
Well, believe me, starving people think a lot differently than wealthy ones.
So, what are you saying? Besides a hungry man being an angry man.
I'm saying, what's worse than a hungry man being an angry man is having that hungry man, that is, that hungry, angry man, outside your door demanding food.
Oh yeah, they could definitely get hungry. For the wealthy folks amongst us, all I can say to you is, throw chicken to the window and hope for the best.
Hey, okay, I guess I don't need to add that if there is a family of hungry, angry people outside, that you need to throw more than one chicken. You might want to add in the side dishes like rice, coleslaw, and potato salad. Take my good advice.
So while the well-to-do stand there wondering whether they should seek protection in the priesthood, join us next week to find out more of the misunderstood in our statehood, right here on Coffee Break.